All right, guys, today we're going to go over the Mayan culture, and this is important to go over because when we're doing math involving things like the Mayan calendar and things like seeing how cool it is and observing all those unique things about it, it's important that we understand the culture a bit about it too, and so that we know what it is that this meant and why it's so significant and why we're still using it today after all this time. So that's what this video is going to be dedicated to. All right, so first we're just going to go over a few of the Mayan practices and just kind of some brief history about them. So the Maya were indigenous people of Mesoamerica occupying nearly continuous territory in southern Mexico, Guatemala, and northern Belize. So that's this area right over here. This is the Yucatan Peninsula. And so basically they were just all over this area that's shaded. So from 1500 to 600 BC, they settled in villages and had developed an agriculture based on cultivation of corn, beans, squash, and cassava. And this cassava came a little later as their agricultural developments got as they got more stuff and like more access and whatnot. And so farming, they used the slash and burn method and the terracing agriculture system, and that's this over here. These are the terraces. And so they started using that, and that kind of changed the way farming is done around the world now. So that's pretty big influence. And so for their architecture and cities, they built ceremonial centers that developed into cities containing temples, pyramids, palaces, courts for playing ball, and plazas. And so these are just some of the like buildings. This one's one of the like near the plazas. These are kind of these plazas out here. And I think this one's one of the ceremonial buildings. And these are it's just like it's cool to see like how all their architecture just was like this kind of step pattern, and they still had areas for like gatherings and whatnot, and it seems fun too with playing ball. So population reached approximately 10 million with as many as 10,000 cities in their prime, which was around the third century. And after 900 CE, classic Maya civilization declined, leaving the great cities and ceremonial centers vacant and overgrown with vegetation. And then a bit about the religion. So, as far as worship went, the Mayan people worshipped various gods related to nature. And so this was like the sun and the moon and rain and a few more. And then each month of the year was even dedicated to a different god or a Nahual, as they called them. And something interesting about the Mayan calendar is that there's actually going to be 18 months, which we will look over later. But here are all like or not all of them, but here are some of the gods just to give you an idea of like their visions for them and like what they looked like to these people. And then for ritual, they had torture and human sacrifice were religious rituals of Maya society that were carried out in hopes to bring fertility, demonstrate beauty, and propitiate, the gods. And if failed, then cosmic disorder and chaos were thought to result. Um, so it shows that they did have like ritual practices that they thought they needed to do in order to say avoid a drought or something like that. And for Mayan culture today, the Maya are still in the Yucatan area, and it's just that their existence has changed and the population is still estimated to be around 8 million, so it's still quite big. And some live by tradition and others have integrated more into urban life. And more than half, so an interesting fact is that more than half of Guatemalans are of Maya descent. And as far as medicine and language goes, the Mayan language is now being taught in schools around the area, and modern science is recognizing the value of traditional medicinal plants for their healing power and their potential in finding cures for diseases. And these will include things like cancer, diabetes, and AIDS, and a few more. And this is just a picture of a schoolgirl wearing a feather crown that they with quetzal feathers that they used to use for like kings and queens. So thank you for watching this video.